Today's mindful moment, packed with insights but designed to fit into your busy life. One deep dive at a time. What if justice isn't about being quote-unquote good, but about a carefully constructed society,
Okay.
even if it means sacrificing individual freedom? That's the kind of provocative question posed by Plato in his Republic, which has been shaking up philosophical thought for centuries.
Absolutely. And it's fascinating how he doesn't shy away from really challenging conventional wisdom.
Right.
You know, he just throws us right into this dialogue
Yeah.
set in ancient Athens
Yeah.
where Socrates is dissecting all these different definitions of justice.
Right.
You know, the initial ideas,
Yeah.
paying debts, helping friends, harming enemies.
Yeah.
All these are quickly dismantled.
It makes you realize how often we just accept these simple definitions
Exact.
without really thinking about what they actually mean.
Yeah.
So how does Plato move beyond these surface-level ideas of justice?
Well, he introduces this idea of the ideal city, which is kind of this thought experiment,
Right.
to understand justice on a much grander scale.
And this isn't just like some abstract utopia.
Yeah.
It's like a framework for understanding how societal structures can actually impact individual morality.
This ideal city idea,
Yeah.
it feels like we're building a whole society from scratch.
Right.
Where do we even begin?
Well, Plato starts by dividing the city into three classes.
Okay.
We have the guardians, the auxiliaries, and the producers.
Okay.
Each class has specific duties that actually reflect these different virtues.
Okay.
So for the guardians, it's wisdom, courage is for the auxiliaries,
Right.
and moderation for the producers.
So it's kind of like a social hierarchy, but each level is tied to a specific moral quality.
Exactly.
But why this emphasis on such distinct classes?
Right.
Couldn't this lead to inequality?
That's such a crucial question.
Yeah.
And, one that Plato actually anticipates.
Okay.
His system is designed to create this harmony by ensuring that every single person fulfills their designated role.
Right. Contributing to this overall good, he's not actually advocating for inequality.
Yeah.
He's advocating for a society where everyone is in their right place, so to speak.
That right place idea.
Yeah.
That's what kind of makes me uneasy, right?
Right.
How much individual choice is actually left in this ideal city?
Well, this is where Plato gets really controversial.
Okay.
He believes that the guardians, these philosopher-kings, should actually have no private property or family ties.
Wow.
He argues that these things actually breed individualism and distract from their duty to govern wisely.
That's a pretty radical idea.
It is.
Abolishing private property and family?
Yeah.
It feels almost dystopian in a way.
You can feel that way.
Is Plato suggesting that these personal attachments actually hinder our ability to be just?
It's a very mind-bending concept.
Yeah.
He really believes that these attachments can cloud judgment and create conflicts of interest.
Yeah.
And by removing them, his goal is to create leaders who are solely devoted to this common good,
Okay.
unburdened by personal biases.
So it seems like he's prioritizing societal harmony over individual desires.
Yes.
But wouldn't this system potentially suppress individual expression and freedom?
That's a key tension in Plato's philosophy.
Yeah.
He's acutely aware of this potential for conflict between individual freedom and the need for order and stability.
Yeah.
And so his ideal city really prioritizes this collective good,
Okay.
even if it means curtailing certain individual liberties.
It's a challenging notion,
It is.
especially for us today, where individual freedom is so highly valued.
Of course.
But Plato is forcing us to consider the trade-offs,
Exactly.
the potential downsides of unchecked individualism.
Yeah, he's making us ask.
Yeah.
Can a society truly be just
Right.
if it prioritizes individual desires above the well-being of the whole?
It's a powerful question
It is.
that has resonated throughout history, and it's still relevant today.
And-
Makes you think about our own society,
Yes.
our emphasis on individual rights.
Right.
Are there times where our pursuit of individual freedom might actually be at odds
Interesting.
with creating a just and harmonious society?
That's precisely the kind of critical thinking that Plato's work inspires.
Yeah.
He's not giving us these easy answers. He's prompting us to grapple with these really complex questions about justice, about governance, about the nature of a good life.
This is already getting me to question some deeply held assumptions.
It is a powerful work.
And we've only just scratched the surface of the Republic.
We have indeed.
It sounds like there's so much more to unpack in Plato's world.
There is.
I'm ready to dive deeper.
Let's do it. So welcome back to our deep dive into Plato's Republic.
Okay.
We left off talking about, these trade-offs between individual freedom and societal harmony in Plato's ideal city.
Right.
But a city is only as good as its leaders, right?
Of course.
So how does Plato envision shaping these philosopher-kings?
Yeah.
These guardians tasked with ruling wisely.
That whole philosopher-king concept is fascinating.
Yeah.
But it also feels incredibly idealistic.
It does.
How do you even find people capable of ruling with wisdom and justice?
Well, Plato believed that education was key.
Okay.
And it's not just about imparting knowledge.
Right.
It's about shaping their character.
Yeah.
Cultivating the virtues essential for leadership.
So what kind of curriculum did he have in mind?
Yeah.
Anything like our modern education systems?
Not exactly.
Okay.
Plato's education system is very meticulously designed.
Oh, wow.
It starts with music and poetry, physical training,
Okay.
all carefully curated to instill discipline and a love for beauty.
Interesting.
Then, as students progress, they delve into mathematics, astronomy, and ultimately, philosophy.
Okay.
The pinnacle of knowledge.
Wait, so no history classes?
Well,
no science classes?
He was very particular.
This seems like a very selective approach to knowledge.
It is.
Yeah. Plato was concerned about the influence of certain stories and ideas.
Okay.
He thought some narratives could corrupt young minds,
Right.
leading them away from truth and virtue. Even advocated for censorship, actually,
Really?
to protect the guardians from harmful influences.
That sounds a bit like thought control. Isn't that antithetical to the pursuit of knowledge and truth?
It's a very controversial aspect of Plato's philosophy, for sure.
Yeah.
He was really grappling with this tension between freedom of thought
Right.
and the need to guide citizens towards what he considered to be true knowledge.
Yeah.
He believed that not all ideas were equally valuable.
Okay.
And some could be detrimental to the development of a just soul.
It makes you wonder what Plato would think of our modern world.
Right.
With its explosion of information and diverse viewpoints.
I know.
Would he be horrified by the internet's unfiltered chaos?
It's a thought-provoking question.
It is.
On one hand, Plato really valued rigorous intellectual inquiry and the pursuit of truth. So he might appreciate the access to information that we have today.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, his emphasis on carefully curated knowledge and moral guidance suggests he might be wary of the potential for misinformation and the spread of ideas he considered harmful.
So it's like he wants to cultivate reason.
Yes.
But also protect people from potentially dangerous ideas.
Right.
It's a tricky balance.
It is a very tricky balance.
But let's get back to these philosopher-kings for a second.
Yeah, let's.
What makes them so uniquely qualified to rule?
Well, Plato argues that philosopher-kings are driven by a love of knowledge and wisdom, not by power or wealth. They've ascended from the cave of ignorance and glimpsed the true forms of justice, beauty, and goodness.
Hold on, we need to talk about this cave thing.
You do?
It's one of Plato's most famous ideas.
Yes.
But it always seemed a bit abstract to me.
Okay.
Like, what's the deal with the cave?
The allegory of the cave?
Yeah.
It's this powerful metaphor for the journey from ignorance to enlightenment.
Okay.
So imagine prisoners chained in a cave. Right?
Yep.
They can only see these shadows projected on the wall. And they mistake these shadows for reality.
So the shadows represent our limited perceptions of the world.
Exactly.
When we're trapped in ignorance.
Precisely.
Yeah.
But then one prisoner escapes, ascends out of the cave, and sees the world illuminated by the sun.
Okay.
He finally grasps the true forms of things.
Wow.
The reality beyond the shadows.
And this escaped prisoner represents the philosopher.
Yes.
The one who's seen the light of truth.
Exactly.
Okay.
But here's the catch.
What's that?
The escaped prisoner returns to the cave to enlighten his fellow prisoners. But they don't believe him.
Oh, no.
They're so accustomed to the shadows.
Wow.
They're comfortable in their ignorance.
It's a powerful image.
It is.
The philosopher trying to share the truth, but facing resistance and disbelief. It feels very relevant today.
Absolutely.
With the spread of misinformation and the challenges of discerning truth from falsehood.
It highlights the difficulty of communicating complex truths.
Yeah.
And this inherent human tendency to cling to familiar beliefs.
Right.
Even when they're based on illusion.
It's also a reminder of the responsibility of those who have glimpsed the truth.
Yes.
To try to illuminate the world for others.
Right.
Even when it's an uphill battle.
Exactly. And that's the essence of Plato's Philosopher-King.
Okay.
It's not about wielding power for personal gain, but about guiding society towards wisdom and justice.
Yeah.
Even if it means facing resistance and misunderstanding.
It's a noble ideal.
It is.
But it also begs the question, how realistic is it?
Right.
Can people truly overcome their desires for power and wealth, to rule solely for the common good?
That's a question that has haunted political philosophy for centuries.
I bet.
Is human nature inherently self-serving?
Yeah.
Or can we cultivate individuals capable of transcending personal ambition for the sake of justice and wisdom?
It's a debate that continues to shape our world today.
It does.
As we look at our own leaders, we have to ask, are they motivated by the common good or by their own agendas?
Absolutely. And Plato's Republic. It offers a framework for evaluating leadership, a reminder that true leadership is not about dominance, but about guiding others towards enlightenment and justice.
It's a lofty goal.
It is.
But it feels crucial in a world grappling with complex challenges and competing ideologies.
It does.
But we've been focusing on the ideal city in the Philosopher-Kings.
Right.
What about the individual? Where does personal happiness fit into all of this?
That's where Plato's exploration of the human soul comes in.
Okay.
He connects the structure of the ideal city to the inner workings of the individual.
Okay.
Arguing that justice in society is a reflection of justice within the soul.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How does he connect these seemingly disparate realms, the city and the soul? We've been talking about this ideal city and these Philosopher-Kings, but it feels like we've zoomed out from the individual a bit. How does personal happiness fit into all this?
Well, Plato links the structure of his ideal city to the inner workings of the individual soul.
Okay.
He argues that a just society is actually a reflection of the justice within each person.
So achieving justice within ourselves is key to a just society.
That's the idea.
But what does a just soul even look like?
Plato believes the soul has three parts.
Okay.
Reason, spirit, and desire.
Okay.
Imagine reason as a charioteer who's trying to control these two powerful horses. Spirit represents our ambition, and desire embodies our appetites.
Okay, so reason is trying to keep those horses in check. I can see that. But how does this chariot analogy, how does that actually relate to justice?
So in a just soul, reason is holding the reins, guiding both spirit and desire towards virtuous actions. But when desire takes over, it's like those horses are just running wild, leading to these impulsive actions and ultimately unhappiness.
So it's about finding balance. Letting reason lead, but still acknowledging our emotions and desires. But why is this inner harmony so crucial to happiness?
Well, Plato argues that true happiness doesn't come from just indulging every whim, but from living a virtuous life guided by reason.
Okay.
When our soul is in harmony, when reason guides our actions, then we experience a much deeper sense of fulfillment.
So it's not about seeking external pleasures or material wealth, but about cultivating this inner state of balance and virtue. It's like happiness is an inside job.
Exactly. Plato really challenges our common assumptions about happiness. He's basically saying that chasing these fleeting pleasures or material possessions will never bring true fulfillment. True happiness comes from aligning ourselves with the good, allowing reason to govern our choices.
It reminds me of all those people who seem to have it all. Wealth, fame, success, yet they're still deeply unhappy. It's like they climbed the wrong ladder.
That's a perfect example. They might be indulging their desires but neglecting that essential harmony of their soul. They're like those prisoners in the cave, mistaking shadows for reality, chasing these illusions of happiness.
It makes you wonder, right? If our modern society, with its focus on material success and instant gratification, if it's actually setting us up for this kind of inner turmoil.
It's a thought-provoking question. Plato would likely argue that our constant pursuit of external validation, our addiction to fleeting pleasures, it hinders us from achieving that true inner harmony and thus true happiness.
That's a sobering thought. So according to Plato, being just isn't about following rules or seeking rewards. It's about creating this inner alignment, letting reason guide us towards a life of virtue and ultimately to a deeper, more enduring happiness.
Exactly. And this pursuit of justice, both within ourselves and in our society, is a lifelong journey, not just a destination. It requires this constant self-reflection, a commitment to examining our beliefs, our actions, and always striving to align ourselves with the good.
This whole deep dive into the Republic has been mind-blowing. It's challenged so many assumptions I had about justice, about happiness, even about the kind of society we should be striving to create.
That's the power of Plato's work. It's not just a historical artifact. It's a living conversation prompting us to grapple with these timeless questions about the human condition.
So if Plato were alive today, what would his message be for us? I mean, we're navigating the complexities of the 21st century.
I think he'd urge us to cultivate our inner lives, to seek wisdom beyond all the noise and distractions of our modern world. And most importantly, to remember that a just and fulfilling life begins with the pursuit of inner harmony.
It's a potent reminder that the quest for justice and happiness isn't just this philosophical ideal, it's an ongoing personal and collective endeavor.
And as we continue to navigate these complexities, let's remember to question, to seek understanding, and to always strive for a world where both individual flourishing and social harmony are possible.
This deep dive into the Republic has been an incredible journey. It's given me a whole new perspective on what it means to live a just and fulfilling life. If you're ready to have your own assumptions challenged and explore Plato's groundbreaking ideas, check out the link in the show notes to purchase a copy of The Republic. And don't forget to subscribe to The Deep Dive for more mind-expanding explorations, share this episode with your friends, and join us as we continue to uncover shocking truths and stimulate your intellect.